And the next to take the floor is Honorable Chigumbu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Will Honorable Shamu approach the chair?
Thank you. Yeah, I was going to present my presentation in Shona, but I feel that I won't be adequate enough, so I'll try to do it in English, but I prepared it to present it in Shona. I want to thank the move of the motion. I think I have divided the motion into two parts. There's going to be the spirit of the motion, which I totally agree with, and there's going to be the letter of the motion, which I put some disputes against to some certain extent. On the spirit of the motion, I think the move of the motion is highlighting important issues, Mr. Speaker, that are affecting the young people. One key issue that the move of the motion is highlighted with this motion, Mr. Speaker, is that the biggest or the largest demographic group in the country is not well taken care of, in as much as the presentation of opportunities is concerned. This is a very, very important issue that the motion is raising, that many young people are not being accorded opportunities in as far as taking care of themselves and their livelihoods is concerned. Number two, Mr. Speaker, the other important aspect that has been raised by the move of the motion is that the opportunities that are being presented by our struggling economy are not good enough to cater for the biggest demographic group that we have in this country. And there's need for us to do something to address this. The other issue, the third issue that has been also highlighted by the mover or by this motion, Mr. Speaker, saying is that this country has become highly informal. And it's also a serious cause for concern. The issue now that I have with the motion, Mr. Speaker, say is on the letter or what the mover is prescribing to be a solution to this challenge. Mr. Speaker, say asking for the government to preserve a 30% quota for the purposes of according opportunities to the young people, in my view, is like asking somebody to sail on a dry land. I feel the move of the motion is addressing the challenges that are being highlighted by the motion from a micro perspective, yet the challenges must be addressed from a macro perspective. Mr. Speaker said the challenge with addressing the challenges that young people are facing in terms of getting opportunities by preserving a 30% quota in tendering system, it then excludes other young people who are involved in certain trades that do not survive or that cannot be part of the tendering system that we have witnessed as presented by the government. If we are to say, let us have a 30% quota, Mr. Speaker, say, for the young people, what will happen to those young people who are doctors? What kind of tenders are they going to tender for? What will be the opportunities that this proposal will avail to those young people who are into, for instance, hairdressing? What kind of tenders are they going to get, these young people? If we are to avail 30% youth quota, tender quota for young people, Mr. Speaker, say, what opportunities will be availed to those young people who are into schematology, Mr. Speaker, say? So I feel this motion is giving us a piecemeal solution, Mr. Speaker, say, to a wholesome problem. But the good thing is that it is a good motion that will then force us to open our minds, that will force us to think outside the box to say, the problem that we have is a macro problem that cannot be addressed by micro solutions. What then do we need to do, Mr. Speaker? Say, this is the biggest question that we must answer. Do we have to give youth 30% tender quota so that every youth become an entrepreneur? It's not sustainable, Mr. Speaker. Say. We need to address the fundamentals, Mr. Speaker, say, so that these young people can have sustainable solutions. If we are to push for 30% quota system, Mr. Speaker, say, we'll see a lot of things happening because we have created a patronage system, Mr. Speaker, say. These young people, they are failing to even open a bank account. How do you expect a young person who cannot open a bank account to participate in a tender system, Mr. Speaker, say, that is so exorbitant? What will then happen, Mr. Speaker, say, is you will see these young people becoming fronts to those big established guys. They will simply become a face because they cannot afford even to register a company that is around $150, Mr. Speaker, say. So we cannot say we are addressing the issues and the challenges that are being faced by the young people by preserving a 30% youth quota. It's unattainable, Mr. Speaker, say. It's not a good solution. Mr. Speaker, say, what you also see with this system, if we are to push for it as young people, it will see a girl child being at a serious risk. Because they will have to sleep with certain big guys in order for them to get an opportunity to this system that's being proposed, Mr. Speaker said. We cannot come up with a system that exposes our young people to certain vouchers that are out there, Mr. Speaker said. I don't think it is as a house to push for something that would leave every other young person being a Chigananda, the common way that's being out there these days, Mr. Speaker said. What we need, Mr. Speaker said, are wholesome solutions. And in my presentation, Mr. Speaker said, I have not just come to refute or to dismiss the proposal that has been put across by the move of this motion, Mr. Speaker said, but I have also come with solutions. What do I think, Mr. Speaker, are the solutions to address the issues that are being highlighted by the spirit of this motion, Mr. Speaker? Number one, Mr. Speaker, we need to relook at the prerequisites for establishing businesses for the young people. Maybe the next motion that we need to move in here, Mr. Speaker, is to move a motion that address startups, Mr. Speaker. Our current system, Mr. Speaker, is making it so difficult for a young person, Mr. Speaker, to start a business. Because when they want to start a business, Mr. Speaker, they are required to go through certain processes that would then make it difficult for them to fund because they will require a lot of money to complete. So maybe what we need to do as an important institution, Mr. Speaker, is to advocate for policies that makes it easy for young people to start businesses. For instance, if you look at Senegal, they've come up with a certain policy that helps their young people to start business without the government asking a lot from them. So when they start to grow now, that's when the government will say, now your business is thriving. We now want checks from you. Your business is thriving. We now want you to start to pay certain things. So we need to push for policies that allows for the young people to start business using very, very minimum resources, Mr. Speaker. The other solution that we want, Mr. Speaker, is to address the issue of devolution. Mr. Speaker, we are talking about this because we have not properly implemented our devolution process policy, Mr. Speaker. We are having a situation, let me give an example, Mr. Speaker. You find out that the Ministry of Transport will be developing or will be making a road that passes through a certain region, and it will be using people who will be coming from Harare. So they are developing a road up to Mashingo. But the largest number of the people employed by that particular contractor will be coming from Harare. We have not fully tapped into our devolution process, Mr. Speaker, our devolution policy, Mr. Speaker, said it is going to address some of these issues. What is the devolution policy going to do, Mr. Speaker? It is also going to allow for the small to medium enterprises, which are usually the enterprises that the young people can afford, or that the young people, mostly these small to medium enterprises are being run by young people. Then if we are to say, let us implement our devolution process, you find out that a young company in Lusape will be able to participate in a project that it would have not been able to win if it was going to go for a tender as a loaner, Mr. Speaker said. So we need to say, if these big guys like the big construction companies that you know in this country, if they are to win a tender, why can't you come up with a system where they then absorb other small to medium enterprises in certain regions that they will be working or that they will be implementing their project here? It is going to help us, Mr. Speaker said. The other issue, Mr. Speaker said, is the issue of access to resources. Mr. Speaker said, we are talking about a policy that seeks to give young people opportunities. But how many other policies, Mr. Speaker said, do we have that were created for the purpose of according young people opportunities that we have not fully utilized? We have got a bank, Mr. Speaker said, that was solely created to take care of the financial needs of young people. Has it been functional, Mr. Speaker said? It has not been functional. Why do we need to pile a policy upon policy that we are not making use of? It's a no-brainer, Mr. Speaker said. So what we need is, these young people, they need access to resources. They cannot go and easily get a loan from the banks, because they are being asked a lot. There are a lot of requirements that would then be asked of them to comply with. So what we need, Mr. Speaker, is to allow these young people to get access to resources. This, Mr. Speaker, in my view, will broaden a solution to this stated problem by the mover of the motion, Mr. Speaker. We also
Point of order. Sorry, Mr. Speaker, the mics seem not to be working, but I just wanted to correct the honorable member on the issue of the non-existence of a bank that deals with youth issues. We have a bank, Empower Bank. For me, it is this parliament that is not giving them enough resources. Otherwise, the bank is functional and is looking after the youth. My understanding was that the bank is there, but it needs to be capacitated. So you are on the same page. You are on the same page. Honorable Chigumbu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, I think you explained it well, so I'll just continue, Mr. Speaker. The other thing, Mr. Speaker, is that we have seen issues of government making late payments to contractors. Imagine this scenario, Mr. Speaker, where a struggling young man gets a contract, they deliver the service, they deliver the goods, and the government take ages to pay this young person. Will the young person survive, Mr. Speaker? What we need, Mr. Speaker, before we talk of young people 30% tender quota, Mr. Speaker, say, the government must also be able to pay its contractors on time. So we cannot push young people to get into something that will destroy them, Mr. Speaker, say. So this also needs to be addressed. It's a good thing, Mr. Speaker, say, if a young person who is competent, if a young person who has got capacity is going to get a tender, Mr. Speaker, say, it's a good thing. We would all applaud that. But what we don't want, Mr. Speaker, say, is to create a system of patronage where we are saying we are leaving a certain portion for the young people, and the young people who rightfully deserve to benefit from that intervention will not benefit. If you ask around, Mr. Speaker, say, we have youth quota system that brought people into this parliament, which is a good initiative. But if we were to dig deep from both sides of political parties which are in here, Mr. Speaker, we find out that people who are connected are the ones who are here. We don't want to perpetuate this problem, Mr. Speaker, say, in tendering systems, where the only young people who will be connected will end up getting all the tenders. This is a very dangerous policy that we can come up with as a parliament, Mr. Speaker, say. I'm one person who always advocates for the empowerment and capacitation of young people, Mr. Speaker, say. But I would always advocate for that to be done in a right way. So I submit, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.